why San Francisco is literally the opposite of so many cities in the United States.
What makes San Francisco is that it's different. It's always been different. And we are continuing with that conversation of how San Francisco in 2026 is different from pretty much anywhere else.
Today, we're going to walk through 10 reasons San Francisco is culturally, geographically, historically different from any other city in the United States, and why people continue to choose to move here.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jonathan Graham.
I'm Katie Pratt. Welcome back to Living in the Bay Area.
Living in the Bay Area!
Today, I have a special guest with me.
Founder of Daily Courage and resident of San Francisco.
And a native to the Bay Area, and a friend of mine for now.
Friend? How long have we been friends?
6 years.
7
years. No, 5 years.
Time flies by when you're having fun.
Geographically, San Francisco sits in a peninsula. It's only 46.9 square miles, or the 7x7 you normally hear of when we talk about San Francisco's geographic size. Compared to other cities, I mean, you've been to Chicago. How many square miles is that? I mean, most of these Midwest.
50?
These Midwestern cities are geographically expansive. I would expect, based on the density and the proximity, we would expect our public transportation system to be a little bit better than it is. Geographic constraints of the city are one reason that supply is constricted and housing prices are what they are in San Francisco. There's also historic preservation efforts and NIMBYism, bureaucracy of going through building and planning that make some of the struggles San Francisco has a reality versus other parts of the United States like Austin, where we see tons of development.
Yeah, San Francisco is surrounded by water on 3 sides. So there's really nowhere to go. You have a fixed amount of land, and the ability to get something done politically is very challenging. Between environmental, different groups and factions, politically, it's just very hard to build in San Francisco. So this is what makes it great to protect your house price in terms of appreciation.
And on that note, unique feature number 10, the quantity of Victorian and Edwardian housing stock that we have here in San Francisco. In many other parts of the United States, it was a mid-century effort to modernize housing stock and to demolish these historic structures. In San Francisco, we have probably the largest housing stock of Victorian and Edwardian homes.
Most famous being the Painted Ladies. I enjoy going to Alamo Square Park on a regular basis, walk my dog there, and see tourists every single day from all over the world taking pictures in front of it. The cityscape behind the Painted Ladies is an added treat that really preserves history in a most picturesque setting that you'll find in America.
And there's something like, I don't know, over 400 features, publications, media that shows, I think it's 710 to 720 Steiner Street. That's the Painted Ladies.
And the show Full House, which captured pretty much everyone's heart during the 1990s.
Yep.
That was what made it, incredibly more popular as well, being featured not only just around the country, but probably syndicated around the world as well.
Okay, no other city has close to the concentration of Victorian and Edwardian homes as in San Francisco. These homes survived the 1906 earthquake because they were, well, a lot of the masonry homes in Nob Hill were destroyed, but their survival had to do with geography and timing. So not only were they geographically, protected, the fire that ensued afterwards in the city stopped before it could reach most of the Victorian housing stock. That said, there were a number of homes that were destroyed during that time period, as I named the masonry and Nob Hill. That's why you don't see a lot of brick housing either in San Francisco compared to places like, Cleveland, Ohio, parts of the Midwest and South. There's not a whole lot of brick buildings. If they are, they're facade. And while the brick foundations here, as part of the earthquake retrofit programs, you're encouraged to completely replace those or cap them with concrete and then retrofit the structures for the imminent earthquake or big one that's going to come later on. It's about 70 times that these homes have appeared in media in the last century and a half.
Little known fact about the Painted Ladies. Where does the term Painted Ladies come from? Actually, in the late 1970s, there are 2 authors who actually decided that those Victorian architecture styles would look best with having at least 3 colors. So that's why they are considered the Painted Ladies, because the colorful patterns that are chosen to use highlight the features of that architecture.
She's probably from the Bay Area.
This is a very San Francisco conversation. These are the type of things that you can find. You can get psychedelics. I mean, you talk about the Haight-Ashbury. You can't talk about San Francisco culture. You can't talk about Silicon Valley without talking about psychedelics and the role that they played in counterculture and the creation of those. So all the hippies who were doing drugs, who were listening to the Grateful Dead, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, that created an environment for creativity, which is inherently necessary for innovation. And so the same people whose parents were telling them don't study computer science, don't play with computers, go get a real job. Those same folks became the founders of companies that we call today Apple and others, world-class technology companies. And they were heavily influenced by the ability to think differently. So Steve Jobs, famously known for the campaign of Apple, Think Different, he famously said, hey, I would not hire anybody who did not do LSD. So when you think about what makes San Francisco...
Tune in. What did Timothy Leary say? We should do a whole episode on psychedelics and the origin of psychedelics and
the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood.
No, Menlo Park. We're off topic. I mean, we're on topic.
But this is what makes San Francisco San Francisco. So the fact that drugs, you can find access to some really interesting people who are doing things culturally. They're enabled by their creative process, and it's using psychedelics. So it wouldn't be fair to talk about San Francisco and say what makes San Francisco, both present day, historically, and culturally, without giving a nod to the role that drugs played in our society.
And continue to play in terms of getting some things FDA approved. There's the MAPS program at UCSF, which is a continued effort, I believe, to bring some of these psychedelics into therapy offices across the United States to make it a more mainstream method of treating trauma and stress.
And outside of trauma, let's just talk about having a damn good time.
If you're relocating from San Francisco, from other cities where housing stock that's considered to be old was built 1980 and afterwards, you'll be surprised when you start your house shopping here in San Francisco. Most of the housing stock, any housing stock that's as old as what we were just describing has more value and will retain value over time. Classic features tend to continue to compete with modern new builds in the luxury market. In the mid-range market, there's actually more value assigned to, and what I mean by mid-range is anywhere from like 800,000 to 2.5 million. Those homes that are classic tend to retain value better than newer construction condos or more modernized gray and white types of buildings. And historic character continues to command.
Might as well live in Oakland.
Francisco. Unique feature number 9.
This is my favorite topic.
Fog microclimate in San Francisco.
Fog microclimate.
Carl was a name created in 2010 by an anonymous Twitter user. I thought it was a historic name. I thought this came about a long time ago, but apparently not. It's an internet sensation.
The coldest winter I ever experienced was a summer in San Francisco.
Thank you.
It's true then and even truer now.
And that's why we call August Foggust, is because the fog is, I guess, most dense or most present in August. So Carl the Fog is a consequence of, and our colder summers in San Francisco is a consequence of the 50-something hills in San Francisco. So the terrain, the proximity to the ocean, this sort of like tunnel or open space that's created out to the ocean in the Golden Gate area. And then of course, in the summer, the Central Valley heat creates this like reverse climate in San Francisco and this part of the bay that doesn't exist in places further outland. Where you are in San Francisco absolutely determines, it can determine your quality of life. We were just having a conversation about how it would not be an ideal place to host, where he is now in Civic Center, Upper Market area, because
I prefer Hayes Valley.
Hayes Valley border.
Hayes Valley. Hayes Valley.
Because if you go on top of his roof, it's a freaking wind tunnel and you need your jacket. And this is mid-June, where June 21st is, longest day of the year, where he is. So your quality of life, if sunshine matters to you, you're moving from a different part of the United States or some parts of SoCal. I don't consider actually LA to be, the smog is a whole other conversation. But if you're moving from a sunnier part of the United States, or you're used to, rain that comes, tropical storms, tropical rain basically, and you live in San Francisco, you really want to study the fog map here. You don't want to live in places like Seacliff or the Inner Richmond, Outer Sunset, Inner Sunset. You're going to always wear layers. I haven't worn shorts in, 10 years, unfortunately. So you gotta make some effort. So San Francisco is one of the only cities you could be in a 7x7 grid. Thank you. You can be at Ocean Beach in the morning. It's 52 degrees and foggy. And then if you made that walk, which that would be a fun video to do, a walking tour of San Francisco going all the way to the Mission, at the end of the day, there could be a 20-degree temperature difference in the same day, in the same city. So that is absolutely one of the most unique features of San Francisco.
And even in the same neighborhood throughout the day, you'll experience easily a 20-degree swing throughout the day. Between morning time and evening time, peak times, you can see temperatures in the 50s up to the 70s and back down to the 50s at
Yep.
night.
Yep. And I was talking about the terrain of the hills of San Francisco. If you're at the top of the hill or you're in a corner unit and have lots of windows that are dual pane, like your environment inside the home could be a world of difference than a basement unit, below grade unit with on the opposite corner of the house, with a house that's facing like east-west instead of facing north and also at the top of a hill. When you're looking at neighborhoods, it's important to look at the positioning of the building and the location of the unit within that building. All right. I mean, your spot right now is like,
Yeah,
it's great. It gets tons of light.
I have a ton of light. I've got a south-facing unit, south and east-facing, floor-to-ceiling windows, and it actually gets hot enough that I actually have one of the few units in buildings in the city that has air conditioning. So it's not uncommon for it to be, reaching ambient temperatures in the 70s during the day, during the peak, and reaching upwards of 80 in my apartment if I don't turn on the AC.
Yeah, and if he gets overheated, he just goes down to his wind tunnel outside for about 10 minutes. If you haven't visited the Bay Area, you're imagining the California you see on television. What was that? What are some shows? Baywatch. I was like, Live Watch.
Fresh Prince of
The OC.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Those are not NorCal, my friends. So expect to have temperatures lower than 70 most days of the year, and bring layers, donate your shorts.
Those can be NorCal, but it's just not San Francisco.
Yeah, not San Francisco. You're right.
You can have a very warm north.
Vallejo's pretty warm.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, anywhere inland. Livermore, Stockton.
Well, Stockton's not the Bay Area, but yeah, that's the Central Valley, and you wouldn't be watching this channel if you were interested in living there.
San Francisco did not grow over time like other cities in the United States or major metros in the United States.
People from all over the globe have flocked to San Francisco to pursue their dreams since its very inception, starting in 1849 when the gold rush kicked off. And the gold rush is still happening. Today is just a digital gold rush.
All right, we'll get into that. But it was 1848, San Francisco, 500 residents. Wow. And then the next year, it exploded into 25,000 residents. The year after that, over 36,000. And this was all because of the discovery of gold in the Sierra Nevada foothills, which were 130 miles away. But explosion of population in that short amount of time meant that the city's infrastructure was created very sporadically during those years. So unlike these other cities across the United States where that development could be more thought out, that's why we have the density that we do in San Francisco. You'll see some of those like old earthquake shacks. It's like not the highest and best use of that plot of land, of course, and they're still remaining, but it's like you could tell that's what they could do at the time. It's like minimalistic. It's not like some of this other architecture that emerged from the gold rush, from the wealth that was created by that gold rush. And some of the banks and the financial institutions that existed.
Wells Fargo.
And what we called the Wall Street of the West, those institutions came about because people needed a place to manage the wealth that emerged from this gold rush. The gold rush also shaped San Francisco's cultural geography. Our Chinatown emerged during that time period. It's one of the oldest Chinatowns in the United States because of some of the immigrants from China arriving during that period. We also have one of three, surviving Japantowns in the United States.
And the largest in the country is in San Francisco.
Yeah. Wow. So for anyone relocating here from any other American city, you're moving to a place that was internationalized in the 1850s. The cultural layering that you experience here isn't something that happened in recent decades or recent years. And then what were you saying, Jonathan, about the new gold? As a former tech entrepreneur and also tech employee.
So yeah, San Francisco is now the hub of innovation for the globe. What used to be more restricted to the physical Silicon Valley down in the South Bay has now trickled up towards San Francisco, where your companies like Twitter going public in late 2010, 2010s, was a landmark issue.
Yeah.
Mayor Ed Lee led a very public and active role in bringing tech companies to San Francisco, not being in the South Bay. Salesforce, the first publicly traded SaaS company, an industry leader, the largest private employer in San Francisco. And so people have come to San Francisco to chase their dreams from all over the world since its history. And they were panning for gold back then. They're still panning for gold today. It's just a different type of gold. From the physical gold to the digital gold, the AI gold rush is in full swing, and people are coming all over the globe to with their axes and their picks, panning for gold, looking to get lucky. AI startups left and right. On every billboard, you will see them. AI, 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 AI. There's no other airport that you will fly into and see billboards where they are literally targeted for very technical audiences. Half of them you won't even understand what they are and what they do and what they sell. The other half are really pitched towards executives who are making buying decisions as CIOs, CTOs, CMOs of companies who are thinking about tech budgets. So San Francisco is a very specific city in that regard, and that's one of the other ways that sets it apart. Do we touch on the gay culture? Pride much?
Unique feature number 7. The
what a great segue.
LGBTQ, a capital of the United States. That's right. San Francisco, till this day, has one of the highest per capita LGBTQ plus populations in the United States. We were talking about trailblazers, people who were risk takers arriving in San Francisco. The emergence of a large, especially relative to the total gay population, happened because of World War II. San Francisco was the last stop in World War II before being deployed. And as the rumors spread, well, what initially happened is that folks were being discovered as gay and lesbian. I don't know what percentage of women at that time were enlisted and then discharged. But that discharge happened in San Francisco, and these folks who were different realized there was community, didn't want to go back to whatever podunk or more conservative, more conservative towns that they were from. So they stayed in San Francisco. In the 1950s, it was, I don't know what percentages was, but thousands of people who were gay or lesbian during this time period ended up settling in San Francisco. And by the 1970s, the gay male population had started at 30,000 at the beginning of the decade, and by the end of the decade, it was 100,000. And that's out of a population, a total population in San Francisco of 660,000. So over 15%. And till this day, well, at least in 2006, before some of the financial crises that we had, I would like to see updated demographics. But a big percentage, 15, probably to 17% of San Francisco's population identifies as LGBTQ+. There's also, with current political climate in the United States, probably a lot more, as there have been over the last decades, political refugees, people who identify with this subculture, or people who identify as LGBTQ+, coming to San Francisco because of the community aid, a lot of the organizations and nonprofits that exist that serve this community. In 1977, Harvey Milk made history because he was elected to San Francisco's Board of Supervisors. I think he was the first gay politician in the United States, or
openly gay
elected official
in the United States.
Yeah, openly gay.
And now we have Harvey
openly gay. The GLBT Historical Museum is the first LGBTQ museum in the United States. The Castro remains a popular or historic neighborhood because of, well, the demographics, the concentration of gay men and gay bars and nightlife in San Francisco. And then on the other side of the bridge in Oakland, you have a very high population of lesbians and queers. So it's not just San Francisco, but it's definitely changed the cultural landscape of the Bay Area and the United States. It's been a trailblazer in that regard, showing people in other parts of the United States.
Speaking on that note, one of the things that sets San Francisco apart is the number of festivals and events that are truly unique to San Francisco. One of those being Folsom Street Fair. There's a level of freedom.
Geekiness.
Some might call it even debaucherous, that is celebrated and tolerated in San Francisco that would not be allowed in many other cities, but not everything.
Nudity was allowed for a while.
Public nudity.
In San Francisco.
Public nudity,
I don't
that's
think
right.
It's anymore, but it was for a while.
Oh, yes, it is. I
still
live very close to route for beta breakers, and nudity is alive and well.
All right, well,
Beta breakers is an iconic running event from the Bay on the eastern side of the city, starting close to the financial district, south of Market, right on Market Street, all the way to the Breakers, which is on the Bay side, on the western side of the city. I think it's
I've done it once.
Over 100 years old.
Yeah. The San Francisco Pride is one of the biggest pride festivals in the United States and probably the world. We attract over 1 million attendees every year. So the San Francisco population doubles when we have Pride. And that's the last weekend of June every year. Unique feature number 6. This is the only moving landmark.
A moving landmark? What is that?
Yeah, what do you think that is, Jonathan?
I've never heard of a moving landmark.
You get 3 guesses.
A landmark that moves?
Think public transportation. Think public transportation. Think iconic San Francisco postcards.
Oh, would it be the cable car?
A tourist, yes, exactly. Yes, dude, first guess. I have no prize for you. All right, so every other American city retired its 19th century form of public transportation, but San Francisco did not. And yes, like cable cars are something that perhaps if you are a tourist, you would like to use as you'd like to have that experience when visiting, but it is a bona fide method of public transportation for people who live in those neighborhoods. The cable cars were officially designated. Is this boring you?
No.
Are you listening? First designated.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm getting Katie Pratt on.
Moving historical designation in 1964.
I need to take a call.
In 1957, the last cable car in another part of the world was in New Zealand and was officially closed down. So this is the only remaining above ground cable system run by an underground system in the world. There are currently 40 cable cars in service, 28 single enders on the Powell Street line, the Powell Street routes, and 12 double enders are on the California Street routes. I've lived in the Bay and for 16 years, I've never taken a cable car.
That's a shame.
I know.
Let's do it. And actually, if you happen to see this video and you would like to go on a tour specifically led by Katie Pratt, you are a qualified lead from YouTube, emphasis on qualified. This is an opportunity. One of the unique things that happen with working with Katie Pratt is the attention that she cares and gives towards her clients.
Care about your whole experience.
Your whole experience. So you will get to go on one of the monthly tours that Katie Pratt leads for prospective clients. Click that link in the details in order to get access to the wait list.
What are your musings about why these cable cars existed in the first place?
I think cable cars existed as a means of transportation to haul goods and people from point A to point B. How about
Yeah,
that?
but in those parts of the city that I named.
Oh, in those parts of the city
why was that?
I think because they probably the engines might not have been as strong enough to get up some of the hills, and so you needed, electrical current to handle some of those steeper hills.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, so the terrain of San Francisco absolutely did not lend itself to the motorized transportation that was available at the time. It didn't have the horsepower to be able to carry those goods and people. Hills were too steep for horses and too steep for early motor vehicles. They connect Nob Hill to the financial district. Another thing still intact post 1906 earthquake. Unique feature number 5, we were just talking about that. The topography of San Francisco and the 50 plus named hills that I've been mentioning are responsible for some of the microclimates. So yeah, San Francisco has more than 50 hills. For a 7x7 grid, that's more than any other city in the United States if we're talking about hills. I think where I'm originally from in Louisiana, the highest point in Louisiana is a hill. It's one hill. It's in northern Louisiana.
Elevation 27 feet.
By some measurements, the steepest street in San Francisco, where do you think it is? What neighborhood? If you had to guess.
We're going to go with Lombard Street? Or that's a crooked street?
That's the most crooked street. There is an incline on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right past North Beach, going past Columbus, going west. Might be one of the steeper streets.
Yeah. By some measurements, the steepest street grade in the city is Bradford Street and Bernal Heights.
Oh, okay.
That's 41%. I would think some parts of Potrero Hill too, like coming from Outer Mission to.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the steepest grades.
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, yeah. And to put that in context, a 41% grade means that for every 100 feet you walk, the elevation increases 41 feet.
That's a little rise over run algebra. Y equals mx plus b.
Most cities, and I have nothing to compare this to, but most cities consider a 15% grade steep. Luckily, we don't have snow or ice here in San Francisco, or we've only had it once, and I think that was in the 70s, actually.
That's right.
Was built in 1922 with 8 switchbacks. What is officially a switchback?
It's when it switches back.
Because the straight 27% grade was simply too steep for cars to descend safely. This solution is a perfect illustration of how San Francisco approaches the terrain. It is a landmark in San Francisco, this street. People want to drive down it. During the weekends, it is a tourist attraction, and it's probably really annoying to anyone who lives anywhere near there. It's considered one of the hilliest cities in the world, San Francisco. For buyers, elevation matters here in a way it doesn't matter in other cities. And again, we've talked about this in relation to the fog belt. We've talked about this in relation to your unit relative to other construction or the topography. You want to be at the top of the hill. You want views. Your house is probably going to command hundreds of thousands of dollars more than a home that's in the shade, blocked by other construction with no views.
And although San Francisco is known for being a super hilly city, and it is super hilly, it is also simultaneously one of the most walkable cities in the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Unique feature number 4, a consolidated county city government.
Oh, yes.
This is
CCSF.
actually great because
Ridiculous budget. The population has gone like this, and the budget's gone like this.
Yeah, that's also true.
Thrifty. San Francisco pays more per capita in government fees than states, residents of whole states. Like San Francisco's budget is bigger than like I think 16 different states.
Well, part of that, one reason for the budget increase this year is because they're buying out their contract with PG&E, create their own power.
Or it's not going to make anything any cheaper.
Why do you think that?
Because I understand how human nature works. For the same reason why that bus, or what is it, the high-speed rail.
All right, it's never going to get built. But the same reason that the East Bay Bridge, the Bay Bridge from San Francisco to the East Bay, took like 3 decades to build. And the cost, I think, was 10x its original budget because of inflation.
Human nature.
What Jonathan was saying, the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, the budget, he's right, it's 15.9 billion. 15.9
For 800,000 people. It's an insane number when you do the math.
It funds its own courts, its own public health system.
And because of that, it's one of the cleanest cities that you'll see in the country.
So here's the thing, like the government workers have very strong unions. This is only one drop in the pond of what we could describe the budget. But if you go to Transparent California, if you want to look at some of the most highly paid city government employees in the United States, there's a Hetch Hetchy water system.
Hetchy.
And possibly, their acquisition or their control, renewed control of the electrical system as well. The water system serves over 2.7 million people in the Bay Area, so it's outside of the San Francisco city limits. I don't know which cities those are, but SF voters also use ranked choice voting, and we know how that is fair.
I think one of the things that makes San Francisco unique as well is the percentage of people that are transient. So San Francisco is a very transient city.
Yeah.
And so a large percentage of the population that's based in San Francisco doesn't even bother to vote.
Yeah.
Many of them take shuttles to work in the South Bay. San Francisco has more dogs than it does have children. So a lot of people who would typically be invested in a society because they would, hey, I register to vote here, I have kids here, I'm planning to actually live here and place down roots. People don't feel that same level of attention, so they don't actually get involved in a civic sense. And as a result of it, you have a disproportionate amount of folks who do get involved in city politics, and they are reliant on certain subsidies, rent control, certain things. And it's a very interesting dynamic between the folks who are coming in and driving up the housing prices of San Francisco, who are these quote unquote short-term tourists or long-term tourists, folks who might be working at these companies for a few years. They make a bunch of money, cash in, and then they move to Texas or Florida or Nevada because they don't want to have to pay the tax bill.
And then tune out. That's a great perspective that you've had from working in Silicon Valley.
That's what makes it challenging. So people who are in their 20s and 30s don't really see the need to be involved in civic things. They don't take the time to get registered to vote. They're not reading any of those things. They don't really see it mattering to them. They don't rely on the subsidies themselves. They've got free lunches and healthcare subsidized.
Right.
And much of their day may be spent, on a corporate campus in Mountain View or Cupertino or Palo Alto. And so they, might be here for a couple of years and they move to New York, or they move to Seattle for a different job. So they never get involved in there. And so there's a large percentage of folks, residents of San Francisco, but politically don't get involved. And so that's one of the things that makes San Francisco really unique as well, is a lack of attachment to saying, hey, I'm raising a family here, I'm having kids.
Yeah.
I care about schools. I care about many of the topics and the things that other people in other cities of similar sizes likely would.
Yeah. Yeah. Unique feature number 3 is the inevitability of, the next big one that's coming to the Bay Area. Well, it might not directly affect San Francisco, but the Hayward Fault line.
Do you feel that, Katie?
We're in Boise, Idaho. All right. In 1906, over 80% of San Francisco was destroyed.
It's a fun city.
3,000 people died, Jonathan.
That's personality. R.I.P. R.I.P.
28,000 buildings were destroyed. Some of that masonry I described in Nob Hill. 9 years later, San Francisco hosted the International World Fair. So it was its way of stating, I'm back, look how quickly we can band together and rebuild whatever happened during that time period. Property losses exceeded $400 million in $1906. $400 million in $1906.
Big billions today.
Yes, so 10 billion today, supposedly.
If you could actually get it done.
Other fun fact about back then versus now, right? Like fewer people, less bureaucracy. probably shared trauma also motivated people to say, let's build, let's get homes for everyone. Yeah, streetcars returned to service in just 8 days after the earthquake happened and the fires happened. Temporary housing was constructed in the city within weeks. Can you imagine?
Crazy.
So the architects and engineers in their rush to create this new housing and also to prevent this type of structural destruction at this scale in the future because of the geographic or environmental, the natural hazard risks that exist in the San Francisco Bay Area, it set new standards for building code across the United States for construction, for structural engineering, for retrofitting homes for this type of geographic risk. Yeah, the 1906 earthquake is widely credited as the dawn of modern American earthquake science. You should check out my video on Will My House Survive an Earthquake that I did with Bear Engineering back in December of last year. He also has an app that shows, it combines all the factors and the data that he's taken from doing surveys throughout the Bay Area, the risk factors for a particular house in the event of an earthquake.
And that Bear Engineering is not to be confused with the bears that you might see in the Castro.
Oh my God.
The quick wit is a sign of intelligence, Katie.
All right, I appreciate you watching this video about what makes San Francisco unique. We're not done yet.
I'm not getting invited back.
If you are considering moving to the Bay Area and you're not sure what part of the Bay is right for you, check out our relocation guide below and our relocation quiz. In that, you'll find questions that will help you determine what part of the Bay would be best for you based on where you're working, your willingness to commute and use public transportation, type of weather you like, and your cost of living. Unique feature number 2, we talked a little bit about this, but it's our concentration of billionaires and the amount of wealth in the San Francisco Bay Area. The tech wealth connection. New York has Wall Street, right? We were just talking about this, actually. We were comparing the two cities. You know, what is New York about? And some of the existing systems that are guarantees to becoming rich. In the Bay Area, San Francisco has attracted trailblazers, people who are creators in the technical spaces.
I would say the big difference between New York and San Francisco from an industry perspective being New York is to finance what San Francisco is to technology.
Yeah.
And so New York is more of a, Wall Street is a taker industry, whereas San Francisco tech is a maker industry.
Yeah.
So people become billionaires in San Francisco through creating something that has immense value for society, whether it's Instagram, Salesforce, an Uber.
Tons of biotech.
Biotech companies. But you're typically talking about a very creative energy that someone becomes a billionaire. And so for those reasons, these are people who don't display their wealth the same way. Yes, Billionaires Row is still a thing, and you have people that have large amounts of wealth, but it's not displayed in the same way. These are people who are largely anchored their identity in being academic, being intellectual, being driven by change in a societal way, and to do something in a positive way. I think in New York City, it's much more old money. Not to say that there's not people that are change makers in New York, but you know, this is a place where people still wear suits. In finance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very patriarchal, top-down, hierarchical, much more as a, you know, the more Burning Man-esque type folks crowd that you'll find. But Burning Man did start in San Francisco. Right there, I think, on Baker Beach.
That's right.
So that's, I would say, a great juxtaposition between the big billionaires type money that you'll find in New York versus in San Francisco.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, between 2014 and 2024, I think the number of billionaires has gone up. I wouldn't say exponentially, we'll see. Well, the millionaire population grew by 98% between 2014 and 2024. And I'm sure some of that, if we're counting housing, even personal housing as part of that, your asset determination or your accumulated wealth, real estate appreciation alone made people millionaires.
I saw something recently that said just with liquidity from OpenAI, based on their most recent funding round, the liquidity that employees would receive would be enough to exceed the gross home sales price for all homes sold in San Francisco in 2024. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's how staggering the amount of wealth that's being created with just one company, OpenAI, obviously their flagship product being ChatGPT, is enough for all of the homes being sold in San Francisco in 2024. So we are going to see an epic rise.
Absolutely. I think that the condo market might finally recover the Midtown and
with Anthropic and
Yeah, because there won't be enough housing stock, assuming that all of this
stay.
paper money gets transcribed into real estate or is used to purchase assets in San Francisco and primary homes in San Francisco and secondary homes in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not inside of everyone who works for these companies' heads when it comes to, you know, their life goals and where do they want to be. You know, maybe they don't want to be in San Francisco anymore. To Jonathan's point about the transitory nature of the people who inhabit San Francisco who work in tech.
Let's also not forget about a recent article talking about the dynamic of love and the cost of love in San Francisco.
Oh gosh.
There's
Hold on.
sex worker on Twitter by the name of Ayala, who's an escort, and she talks publicly about her experiences in the Bay Area. And there was an article recently in a credible news outlet talking about nerdy sex workers, specifically coming to Silicon Valley and San Francisco to cash in and charging as much as $23,000
a night.
And what set them apart wasn't their beauty, wasn't their looks, but actually their ability to have very intellectually stimulating conversations
at these
around AI and technology and future of work. That's San Francisco for you.
Yeah, urge for love is something we'll talk about in another video. But the dating scene in San Francisco is not something that I intended to talk about in this, what makes San Francisco the opposite of other US cities. But I would say when we went to
You'd be remiss if you didn't.
Yes, because we went to a comedy event.
At the Foundry.
At the Foundry, thank you. And it was a great event, but what was evident from the hosts touring in many cities on the West Coast.
Allison Goldberg, the show is called Love Isn't Blind. Check it out.
Her plug. Yeah, thanks for giving her a plug.
Tours nationally.
She was constantly commenting on like how there would be no other crowd that would boo a man who has $250,000 plus income, great credit, and looks good, and has all these accomplishments than San Francisco, the crowd in San Francisco. It was interesting watching this basically public peacocking on a comedy show for a heteronormative couple too. All people were accomplished, charismatic to a degree, self-aware, not so much. The thing that was obvious too is like a lot of candidates in San Francisco, single people, have been very career driven, and this among my female friends too, who are straight, career driven, have had their heads down, and very technically skilled, have high IQs, but don't necessarily have. That's not as true for the women as it is for the men, but don't have the EQ, right? So
I don't know if I would agree with that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I'd say that...
I've met some very emotionally immature women as well. So, all types are out here, but
Silicon Valley attracts a very disproportionate amount of people. Yeah. I think 1 out of 4 people work for tech companies.
Yeah.
It's highly analytical, highly introverted. These are people who went to very competitive schools, overinvested. They over-indexing intellectually, under-indexing emotionally. So a lot of folks are, I heard the term first-time cool. In their 30s. Exactly. So it's cool to be a nerd now, but you spent the last 7-8 years in school with your PhD, and you have... You don't know how to dance. You
don't know how to
date. You don't know how to flirt.
Don't know how to initiate.
You got $20 million.
Don't know how to exactly. Don't know how to meet up in person or initiate a first date.
You're socially awkward. You talk over Slack. You don't like people. You were actually happy when COVID happened because then you didn't have to shake people's hands anymore and go out in real life. So it's
this was true for other archetypes.
Fabric of a different city that you wouldn't find in a Chicago, a New York, a Miami.
That's our side note on why San Francisco is very unique. There are probably a higher percentage of millionaires and billionaires than any other city in the United States. And you probably have a higher percentage of single men.
Yes.
GDP per capita was $324,000. Woo.
$324,000.
Isn't that wild?
Per capita.
Isn't that wild? But that's why you see for these like low income or below market rate housing lottery systems or programs, you having to make 120% of the annual median income for San Francisco County is over 200 something grand for affordable housing. So the old middle class, that was the old upper middle class, or that's upper class in other parts of the United States. The concentration of tech wealth in this metro is a direct driver of why real estate in Oakland, Berkeley, Alameda, the East Bay, Silicon Valley is its own conversation, but has appreciated over the years in a way we didn't expect in previous decades in housing market cycles. Yeah, the pressure radiates outward into every other market, and we're going to see more pressure in the next
Yeah.
12 to 18 months. We don't know what the reverberations of this infusion of wealth into the real estate market is going to look like long term. Unique feature number 1, San Francisco. We are living on a tectonic time bomb. I mean, when I first moved here, National Geographic, and this is a great story, because when I was a teacher, I was not thinking about living here longer term. And I was making 40 grand a year in Oakland in 2010. 40,000, I mean, less than that. But anyway, before Twitter moved in, that milestone that we talked about that kind of changed, or marked the change in cost of living in San Francisco and then ultimately the East Bay. Anyway, my roommate was older, worked in public health, or she was a social worker, and she was looking at buying a house, and I was like, I would never buy a house here. Because I had read this National Geographic article. I was a science teacher, and I think I was sharing it as like some sort of activity on a short Wednesday. But anyway, it was about the big one coming. It's gonna come in the next 10 years. And National Geographic had all these justifications for why it was great risk for the Bay Area because of our main water lines, our sewer lines, the lack of maintenance of infrastructure. What would happen if the big one did come? The fault line that's most at risk for, or most probably going to cause a major earthquake greater than 7.0 in magnitude is the Hayward fault line, and I think there's like something like a 39% chance in the next decade that fault line will erupt. And I've gone over in other videos, natural hazard disclosure reports, and what it means to be on the fault line, according to that Bear Engineering video, what being in a high liquefaction zone means, why retrofitting is important, why it won't matter in some areas in the Bay Area. Yeah, the USGS says there's a 72% chance that there will be a major earthquake in general, right? One of the major fault lines by 2043. Yeah, the San Andreas Fault. What do you know about that? It's the peninsula segment. Its maximum credible magnitude that it's capable of is 7.9. Then there's the Hayward Fault, which I was describing, is in the East Bay, runs through the UC Berkeley Stadium. It runs through Kensington, some of the Berkeley Hills, not far from the North Side neighborhood. Yeah, the fault zone moves through Redwood Heights and Upper Diamond, Upper Laurel area of Oakland, too. So Hayward Fault, scientists identify as the most dangerous fault zone in America. Yet, locally, and people who aren't from California who move here aren't necessarily asking these questions when they're preparing to purchase a home. They see the natural hazard disclosure report, they see the proximity to the fault zone, they don't care if they want to be in the hills. It'd have to be an act of God for you to be right on top of the epicenter. But just like in Southern California, being on the bedrock means that the land isn't going to shift in the way that being somewhere in the flatlands where there's a lot of ground shakeability and there's a higher liquefaction score according to USGS, which might mean that your home, if not properly retrofitted, could be easily destroyed. Earthquake insurance is not tenable out here. It's not affordable. There are exceptions to that, like USAA insurance. If you already have a policy with them in California and you buy a new one in a place where there is some earthquake risk, it can be more affordable. But the majority of homeowners in the Bay Area do not have earthquake insurance. It's home insurance by itself, combined with some of the high fire insurance metrics or whatever Moody's analytics that insurance companies are using to evaluate risk. It's just too high. There are already so many homeowners who live close to the hills that are paying for the state-funded insurance, which is the FAIR plan. And that can be as much as a total of 9 to 13 grand per year. That's half the property taxes for homes of that valuation and that location. So yeah, there's a 51% probability, according to USGS USURF 3 model, 51% probability of an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.0 or higher within 30 years. So it's coming, and it's all about preparation. This is part of the disclosures you review when you're shopping for a home. Some of the things that I mentioned about earthquake insurance, definitely worth investigating to set expectations. Pretty expensive. If we want to think about this scenario, if there was a 7.0 earthquake directly under Oakland, meaning on the Hayward Fault Zone, this would result in estimates up to 800 deaths and 18,000 injuries. I don't know if that's directly from the quake or the way people would respond to an emergency situation or fires that result afterwards. It would also cut off 85% of San Francisco's water supply lines.
Wow.
But San Francisco offers, when I'm coming in from other cities in the United States, whether it's like the Midwest, Chicago, or from New York at any time of year, it's like going from JFK. When I fly out of JFK, getting to the airport and flying back into San Francisco. and you're like, oh yeah, crap. Like the geography here, the topography is unmatched.
Second to none.
Second to none. The geography that's resulted from being on top of all these tectonic shifting plates and these fault zones is, I mean, people move here for this and for the weather. So anyone buying here, right, seismic risk is a factor you need to understand, you need to take into account before purchasing a home. And I've mentioned all the things, all the resources that are available to you to mitigate or to estimate that risk. I mean, if you're serious about buying in this market, the things that we've mentioned here, seismic risk factors, the microclimate of the fog, the weather that you'll experience throughout the year, neighborhood density, community, culture. My contact information is below. Give me a call anytime. If you're curious about living in a different part of the Bay Area, check out the San Francisco Bay Area City and Neighborhood quiz below. Thank you, John, and thank you to my guest and San Francisco resident, Jonathan Graham. It was quite courageous of you to join my...
Thank you so much, Katie. Truly a pleasure.
Thank you for your inputs, your insights.
Absolutely.
You'll see him again.
See you soon.